Hello, everybody.
My name is Redbird. I'm more awesome than hell, so I have always dreamed about doing a drum in my life. So, let's begin. I was born on September 17th, 1987, in Oklahoma City. That is home to the Oklahoma City Memorial bombing, those who wonder. I was the oldest. And that's me, an awesome guy. And that's my sister, right, her name is Scarlett. She's not awesome. And that's my youngest brother right on the far right. As you can tell, he is also not awesome. That he used to be so fat. His name is Maroon, and he was born when I moved to Colorado Springs. That's how my Facebook friends would know that I am still more awesome. Anyways. When I moved from Oklahoma City all the way up to Colorado Springs, I met my two friends, Chuck and Hal. And my friend Chuck, he's a triangle head, and Hal is a long beak that is bigger than his body. Between me and my friends, I am even more awesome. I'm more awesome than they are. Sorry guys, I should also mention when I moved to Colorado Springs that me and my friends were pretty much bad kids. Rotten. Well, pretty much born in rotten things. I mean, as you can tell, stinky. And here's a fly right here. Stinky. That's a pretty bad cue, you know. Me and my friends had a contest where we would push the girls as hard as we could down the slide. See who's the fastest to land at the dirt at the bottom first. You see a girl who landed the same at the bottom. That was me. So we pushed the girls hard, we got in trouble, and I wasn't in first place, but these birds right there, they were expelled. And they told me to go to the principal's office. Like I always been told when I do something bad that I do, you have to go to the principal's office. Well, 2 months later, I became more friendly to the girls than I was before, because I learned my lesson. That's why you pulled Halo like I'm going to heaven. And they're crying because they're not. You can see that my friends should be ashamed of themselves more than I should. So do not doubt me! Alright, so here's another thing to mention for. My dad was born in a ranch outside of downtown Dallas. Redbird Ranch, and my dad was from there, and his name is Rusty. Rusty Redbird. Dallas. And my dad, Rusty, was taking a sophomore year in high school when he met my mom. That was in high school. During the time my dad was a sophomore in high school when he met my mom, who came from Hawaii, which means that she was from a Hawaiian descent. So, eventually, even when my dad was a sophomore, he met my mom. They eventually went to prom as seniors. As I mentioned before, that's my dad on the left. Alright. This is my parents' formation. And that's my mother, Alani, on the right. Yes, you can tell she was more pretty, but back in the old days. And yeah, and my dad on the right, as you can tell with the bow tie, he is still more handsome. I should also mention that that I had a. Well, yeah, it still has to be pink, being pink, you know. Then I should also mention that my girlfriend still having an interest in German food for a long time. Du bist schön. That's what I said, which means you are pretty. That's my girlfriend right there. Her name is Stella, and that's me on the left. As you can tell, I still feel more awesome. But anyway, I should also mention my first date with her, my girlfriend. So I wouldn't say girlfriend. She's more of my wife right now. All right, this is me. On December 15th, 2002, I took her out to a German restaurant because she had been interested in it for a long time. So we had a good time eating the food, but she said she likes me, and he said, and I said, hey, I like you too. So when I walked out of the restaurant, she told me that she had a surprise for me, and I asked, oh yeah, and then what is it? Smack. And yeah, I was kind of surprised about that. She told me eventually not to tell my mom when she picked me up, and I told her not to tell her parents, but my dad didn't really mind. So after my first date, I started loving her. So then I continued dating her through high school and all the way up to college. And I graduated high school on May 24, 2006. After I graduated high school, I eventually became engaged to Stella, and I asked her to marry me while I was on my graduation trip with my friends to Hawaii. As you can see the water, the sun right behind and the tide. So when I went to Hawaii, I asked her to marry me, and she replied with a yes. So it's more romantic here. My engagement to Stella ended in my childhood. And so anyways, on January 27, 2007, I eventually got married to Stella when I was only at the age of 19. My wife still was at the age of 18, which I was still more awesome. My dad was in the audience along with my mom. And there's my mom in the audience. My fat brother was so fat that he could barely crush the seats at the church. Alright, like I said, lots more people in the audience. Here we go. Chuck was there at my wedding along with Hal. My friend Hal was crying. And you can tell my friend Chuck's angry look saying, knock it off. This is embarrassing. I was at 19 and my wife still was at 18. I got married just 2 weeks before her birthday. And I continued loving each other, which was something good that I had chosen to do in my life. So then 1 year later, my wife and I began giving birth to our kids. We've been giving birth to 7 of them that year. Our first child's name is Ranger, who was born on January 8th. But then our second child's name is Ryan, who was born on February 4th, 2008. And then my third son, his name is Ralph, and he was born on August 9th, 2008. That's me on the left, who is a proud dad. And my fourth son was Robert. He was born on September 1st, 2008. And then that same year we gave birth to Richard on October 5th, 2008. The next time we gave birth, his name was Rudy, born on November 7th, 2008. And lastly, we gave birth to our daughter, Randy, on December 11th of 2008. And that's my wife on the right, who is a very proud mom. My son Richard turned out to be a lot more trouble. He was often a bad influence of Ralph.
I'm not a troublemaker.
Get out of the video. So, after giving our birth to our kids, and Snow and I have been loving each other since our first date, but we have loved each other for 14 years, 7 months, and 16 days. I'm 29 years old, and I'm about to be 30 years old in about a month and a half. I will turn 30 in September, but my wife Snow will turn 30 next February. September. And that is the story of my life so far. So, stay tuned for my best friend Hal's Draw My Life video. Once we get the script together for him. This is Hal saying that he's next. And so, that's pretty much it. And I will see you all soon.